To the politics today in our regular Monday panel. Joining me, Labor MP, member for Hawke, Sam Ray, and Liberal MP, member for Casey, Aaron Violi. I want to play you the Labor ad to kick off with, and Aaron will get your thoughts on it. Let's have a look for the viewers who might not have caught up with it.
These are all cost of living measures introduced by the federal Labor government because we understand the pressure families are under, and every little bit helps. But look who was opposed to every single one of them. Whichever way you look at it, you'll be worse off under Dutton.
Aaron, is that potentially a potent ad, given how much cost of living is the clear issue ahead of this election?
Well, Kieran, great to be with you. It's not surprising that the Prime Minister and Labor have to resort to personal attacks. It's because after 2.5 years, they've not delivered for the Australian people, whether it's setting reconciliation back a generation, the cost of living crisis, or the social cohesion challenges that we face. The Prime Minister has got no answers to the challenges that we face as a nation, and that's why he has to get personal and attack Peter. But the other point that viewers need to understand that's really important is it's factually incorrect. And look, I won't go through all 9 of those tiles, but two really quickly. When it comes to cheaper childcare, the Coalition voted to support this legislation, so it is completely not true. What we did say at the time is putting money into the demand side without opening up new places and new supply would overall drive the cost up, which has happened. Costs, even with these subsidies in childcare, is more expensive today than it was 2.5 years ago. I mean, minimum wage is set by the Fair Work Commission, so that's actually got nothing to do with the Albanese Labor government or the opposition. 2 examples, I won't go through them all, but it's more spin from this government that has no answers to the challenges the Australian people face.
Sam Ray, you're a former campaigner, and I know you've seen these as they've been put together, these political advertising over the years. Is negative advertising, is this just a reality we've got to come to grips with? As much as you might like to be positive, it's going to be negative, this campaign, isn't it?
Kieran, Peter Dutton can sook about this as much as he likes. Everything in this ad is factual. It is absolutely spot on. It is the truth. Despite that creative bit of word salad we got out of Aaron just there, this is a piece of communication to the Australian people. Every single week that we've been in the Parliament, we've tried to deal with the cost of living challenges, and there are a number of examples that ad shows. And at every turn, when we've tried to introduce cost of living measures to help people in my community, Peter Dutton and the Liberals have opposed those measures. The reality here, Kieran, is that we need Australians to understand that under Peter Dutton, things are going to get a lot harder.
Yes, well, Aaron, this sounds like it's not going to be a warm and fuzzy campaign. You said they've got to go personal, but it is going to be negative, that's for sure.
Well, it looks like it. As I said, the Prime Minister promised a kinder, gentler Parliament. We saw him, have to resort to a personal attack against the Shadow Treasurer using a slur that offended many in the disability community. And I'd remind Sam to look at Hansard. It's in Hansard that we voted to support that childcare subsidy. So I don't know where they've come up with it, unless Hansard is suddenly incorrect. But that's the thing. The Labor government have got nothing but political spin. And the Australian people know that. They know that they're struggling. 2.5 years later, they're all worse off. Energy bills promised to cut them by $275. They're up over $1,000. Cheaper mortgages, it hasn't happened. That's why the Prime Minister and Labor has to go negative. We'll continue to put forward positive policies while holding the government to account.
This is obviously the part of the negative side, but Sam, it's going to be so important for the government, out of your control, yes, but important politically, that the RBA does cut rates mid-February.
Out of our control, indeed, Kieran. I've long been an advocate for the RBA to start reducing the interest rate, but of course they are an independent function. They get to make their own decisions, and we get to, sit back and pass judgment about how they're going at it. We have faced a really difficult period here in our country, in our economy, coming out of Scott Morrison's period as Prime Minister. We saw inflation.
Do you think they will?
We saw interest rates going up.
Do you think they will cut rates in February?
I very much hope they do, and I think they should. But I don't. I've learnt the lesson of trying to guess at what the RBA are up to. I mean, we've created 1.1 million jobs since we came into government. We've finally been able to turn around Scott Morrison's inflation challenge that he left us. We've got inflation coming down. These are not silver bullet solutions to household costs, Kieran, but we've got Australia back on the right track. We need to stay the course. And the reality is, as I said, Australians are going to do worse if Peter Dutton is elected Prime Minister. We all know that. He will cut health. He'll cut education. He will make life harder for Australians.
Aaron, I think there might be a unity ticket in the sense that you would want the RBA to cut rates too, wouldn't you, in February?
Well, I mean, Sam's right in one thing. The RBA is independent, much like the Fair Work Commission is independent, that sets the minimum wage they're happy to claim credit for. But I'm not going to jawbone the RBA. And I know the Treasurer tried that a few months ago. I think we should respect their independence. It'll be an interesting decision. We will wait and see. Trim mean is still at 3.2%. Services inflation is at 4.2%. Obviously, there's a lot happening in the US at the moment. So many factors. What we do know that is not disputed is that in many other countries, many other comparable economies, interest rates were cut about 6 months ago. The RBA Governor herself talked about homegrown inflation and the government spending that is holding interest rates up due to a higher inflation rate. So we will see. There's obviously many Australians that are struggling, waiting with interest to see what happens in a few weeks with the RBA.
Yes, indeed, Aaron. And Sam, I know you're heading to Canberra later in the day. We'll see you over coming days and catch you on air next Monday. Thanks, gents.
Authorised by Aaron Violi, Liberal Party, Lilydale.